Welcome to Jobs and Pods, the only podcast where we can hear real employers talk about their jobs and reveal what it's like to work there. I'm your host, Chris Russell. This jobcast will feature the college staffing group for the Intel Corporation. Intel is the world's largest semiconductor company and has its headquarters based in Santa Clara, California, with offices located worldwide. Joining us now is Coby Schneider, an HR program manager in their college intern program. Hey, Coby, welcome to Jobs and Pods.
Hi, Chris.
All right, so tell us about your role there and how long have you worked for the Intel Corporation?
Well, I've been at Intel for about 12 and a half years.
Okay.
I came to Intel, like a lot of people, straight out of college.
Oh, yeah?
So I graduated with my undergraduate degree and joined SMG, which is the Sales and Marketing Group.
Okay.
And I was in SMG for about 12 years. And I had a variety of different people, program, project management jobs there and enjoyed it. But about 10 years ago, I went back and got my MBA. So I balanced the two of those together. And when I got graduated with my MBA, I decided I was ready for a new challenge, and so that was when I transitioned into HR staffing. I never thought I'd be in HR, and here I am. But I absolutely enjoy it, and I think, having come to Intel straight out of college with my undergrad and then going back and getting an MBA while I was working definitely tied me pretty closely into the experience of a typical intern coming in, both at the undergraduate level, getting their first job, as well as a grad student who's probably juggling family and school at the same time.
So let's talk about life at Intel. Why do you think, in your opinion, it's such a great place to work?
Well, Chris, this is my opinion. I think a lot of people would share it with me, but I think you also hear different things from different people. But I love the rigor of Intel. It's a very demanding, challenging place to work. At Intel, doing just enough to get by is okay for a very short time period, and then you're absolutely expected to raise the bar in terms of your contribution, and I like that challenge. And most of the people around me really enjoy that challenge too, and we positively motivate each other to keep raising the bar. Now, the flip side of that is I feel like I definitely get paid back for my efforts in raising the bar. So one of the great benefits of all at Intel, I think, is that we get a sabbatical. Every 7 years we get paid time off, which you can't beat, in my opinion.
Not at all.
We have pretty flexible work-from-home options in my group. Now, not all groups offer telecommuting, for example. It kind of depends on the job function, but it's pretty common across Intel to have that benefit. I get great benefits in terms of health and retirement. So my husband, who is self-employed, it's a good balance for us with me at Intel and him being self-employed. So, what makes Intel such a great place to work? I come in, I'm challenged. I'm definitely continuing to raise the bar, but I feel like it's an equal relationship where Intel certainly gives me back for my contribution in terms of benefits.
Okay. Now, you work in the intern program there, so tell us about how that all works.
Well, internships are looked at within Intel as sort of the pipeline into what we call future RCG positions, and RCG is a recent college grad position. Okay.
That's a new acronym I haven't learned yet.
I know, and Intel's full of acronyms, so interrupt me if I don't fully describe them. So
That's
RCG,
okay.
recent college grad. A lot of companies tend to look at interns as people who will come in for a short time period and do fairly menial or basic work. And in Intel, we look at interns sort of as an X-month-long interview process. So we look at interns with the interest to potentially hire for an RCG position 12, 18 months down the road. So from the point that you come in as an intern, we're watching you, we're screening you, we're looking at how do you fit in. We're going to provide you a lot of training while you're here, and we're going to make sure that your experience here makes you want to come back to Intel.
Right.
The majority of our internships are technical, and typically we focus on disciplines like electrical engineering, computer engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, industrial engineering, materials science. We also do, surprising to some people, hire quite a few interns from physics degrees and math disciplines. I mentioned the majority of our degrees are technical, but we also do have internships that are non-technical. So we'll look at people with business degrees, law degrees, certainly human resource degrees. In fact, I just spoke with one of our interns last week who's working on a degree in environmental engineering. So definitely we look at quite a few different disciplines. One of the common myths that I hear from people about Intel is that they presume that we're a hardware company only.
Right.
And in fact, if you look at our whole intern population, the two most common disciplines that we tend to hire for are computer science degrees and mechanical engineering degrees. So there's definitely quite an emphasis on software and not just hardware in this company.
Interesting. Okay. So when you're recruiting these interns, what do you look for? What are some of the common traits that these people share?
Well, no intern necessarily is common. Everybody is different, but we do have two minimum criteria that have to be met just to walk in the door. You have to have a minimum of 3.0 GPA, and you have to have the right to work status within the U.S.
Okay.
Now, outside of those two minimum criteria, person to person, things vary. We tend to look for the well-rounded candidates. So what I tend to talk to interns about when I see them, or potential interns about when I see them on campus or at career fairs, is really emphasize what are you doing beyond just school that shows some sort of leadership skills, or what sort of extracurricular activities are you involved in? When we interview and when we look for potential employees, because remember, we're going to treat you as an intern as just like an employee, and we're also going to watch you because ultimately we're looking at you as a pipeline to our future RCG positions. We want to know that you have a good ability to problem solve and work within a company culture that is going to constantly change around you. So we want to know that you are flexible and can deal with scenarios that may not be fully clear to you up front, sort of an ambiguous culture. Or that's not the right way to say it, but an ambiguous set of details that may not be a full problem and you have to delve into them. We want to know that you have the ability to kind of think on your feet, problem solve, potentially lead a sub-team of people towards a solution, interact with your peers and coworkers. So it's not just about the GPA or the discipline or degree that you got in school. That's the starting point, and then we look for what beyond that are you bringing to the table.
Coby, what's the career path like for recent college graduates?
Well, Chris, I mentioned a couple times that we view the internship as sort of an X-month-long screening or interview process.
Right.
And for the majority of our interns, this definitely is the case. We provide a lot of training and networking opportunities to our interns while they're here so that they can see what's available to them across Intel. Since the majority of our interns are coming in as technical, they tend to come in and work within their disciplines. But every once in a while we see an intern that thinks they want to do something, is very good at it, but when they're in it, they realize it's not really what they wanted to do after all.
Right.
But if they show those good underlying skills to do the job, we're going to work with them and make sure that they see what other options are available to them across Intel. One of our goals that we have here is that 60% of our external hiring of employees is for RCG positions. And so if we do a good job in managing the intern experience and having that pipeline feed into the RCG roles, then we definitely have a good candidate pool to pull from.
Would you say most of your interns actually go on to have a full-time career with Intel?
Over 50% do.
50%?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So, Coby, what locations do you hire interns for?
Great question. We have 4 main locations that hire over 80% of our interns.
Okay.
And those are Arizona, 2 locations in California, one in Santa Clara, which is northern California area, and then one in Folsom, California, which is right outside of Sacramento.
Right.
And then Oregon site.
Okay.
The other slightly under 20% of our interns are kind of smattered across the other sites in the U.S.
And last question for you. What's the best way to apply?
Come to the Intel webpage at www.intel.com/jobs. And then you can either do a quick search by location and area of interest, or you can go to the Just for Students link on that webpage and upload your resume and create a profile.
Okay, well, that will do for this edition of Jobs and Pods. I'd like to thank Coby for her time today. Coby, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And for more Jobcasts with Intel employees, visit jobsandpods.com. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our Jobcast on iTunes. Just do a keyword search for Jobs and Pods.